You are standing completely naked in a sun-drenched marble courtyard, dripping in expensive olive oil, and holding a violently squawking live rooster. And you are supposed to look incredibly sexy. Welcome to ancient Greece. You haven't walked into an enlightened queer paradise. You have just been drafted into a hyper-calculated, predatory, and brutally unequal political meat market. It is 400 BC, and you are a young, exceptionally attractive, upper-class teenager living in Athens. Instead of enjoying a carefree youth, you are actively surviving a society that views your fleeting physical beauty as a highly valuable, rapidly depreciating state asset. The nightmare begins the exact second you hit puberty and step into the Palestra, the city's public wrestling school. This isn't just a place to lift heavy stones and get in shape for the military. The gymnasium is a literal, state-sponsored hunting ground. You are required to strip completely naked, cover yourself in glistening oil, and wrestle in the dirt for hours under the blistering Mediterranean sun. And lining the marble walls of the courtyard are dozens of older, wealthy, heavily armed politicians, generals, and philosophers. They aren't there to admire your athletic form. They are fiercely evaluating you and your teenage friends like premium livestock at a high-stakes county fair. A 45-year-old senator doesn't buy you flowers to win your affection. He aggressively corners you in the public marketplace and hands you a live, violently flapping bird. These aren't romantic gifts. They are highly public, socially mandated bribes meant to signal his dominant status, his wealth, and his intentions to the rest of the city. And you are expected to take the limp animal, lower your eyes, and act like playing hard to get is a sacred civic duty. Because playing the game is completely mandatory. If you remain a free agent, you are basically a walking target for every aggressive, rival political faction in the city looking to exploit your family. A cold, suffocating wave of panic sets in. Surviving alone is mathematically impossible. A powerful mentor is strictly required to secure your family's social and financial status. The unthinkable audition process officially concludes when the most terrifying man in the gymnasium steps forward. He is a battle-hardened hoplite commander who solves legislative disagreements by completely ruining his opponents in the public square. He locks eyes with you. He hands you a squawking bird. He claims you. Congratulations! A legally binding, culturally mandated, wildly unequal power dynamic has just been initiated. But here is the absolute, mind-bending psychological twist that makes this new domestic reality so uniquely horrifying. You actually need him. Because being claimed by one terrifying, powerful oligarch is the absolute only thing stopping 50 other aggressive politicians from completely destroying your family's social standing. He isn't just your dominant older lover. He is your university degree, your political shield, and your only viable path to citizenship. Rejecting him now wouldn't just mean an awkward, tearful breakup. A casual whisper to the city assembly from him that you are difficult or ungrateful would trigger a brutal, permanent social deletion. Your future career in the Senate would be strangled before it even started. That monster is the only thing keeping your political lungs inflating. So when the Mediterranean sun finally sets, and the heavy olive wood doors of his private, guarded villa bolt shut, the price for that social protection is aggressively collected. Negotiation does not exist. Equal partnership is a myth. Genuine consent is a modern luxury you simply cannot afford. Duties in the dim, suffocating light of the oil lamps must be performed with exact, unquestioning compliance. But there is a sick, incredibly twisted catch to your performance in the dark. You are strictly forbidden from actually enjoying it. If you show genuine desire, if you move too eagerly, or if you ever act like you actually want the physical intimacy, you are immediately labeled a degenerate by society. Greek culture demands that you act utterly stoic, completely bored, and slightly inconvenienced, while this massive, scarred warlord uses your body. Laying there like a pristine, emotionless marble statue is a strict legal and social requirement. But staying entirely rigid while a heavy infantry commander shatters your physical boundaries takes a horrific psychological toll. Lips are bitten raw to muffle the sound of your own panicked breathing. Instructions are followed exactly. Dissociation takes over so intensely that your consciousness basically leaves the villa and floats out over the dark Aegean Sea. Your mind turns into a compliant, hypersexualized ghost trapped inside a highly politicized machine just to survive the night. It feels like the horrific cost of doing business in Athens, a political campaign financed strictly with your dignity. And then the physical act finally ends. The oil lamps flicker in the drafty room, and the dynamic instantly, violently flips. A heavy, sweat-slicked arm pulls your head against a scarred, hairy chest. Calloused, weapon-scarred fingers gently pet your hair. For 2 straight hours, the hardened hoplite commander whispers in the dark about how a rival philosopher really hurt his feelings in the Agora today. The dominant oligarch who just violated every physical boundary you possessed is now a wounded, clingy, emotional wreck demanding to be held. And your arms wrap around him. Because they have to. Deeply emotional, domestic intimacy must be provided to a massive, fragile ego. It is a non-consensual therapy session, and the clinic is a sweaty bed in a heavily guarded military compound. The perfect, traumatized political stepping stone is born. When you aren't trapped in his bedroom, you are paraded through the city streets like a premium, breathing luxury accessory. The symposiums, the legendary, highly exclusive Greek drinking parties, become your secondary torture chamber. You are draped in expensive sheer linen, forced to pour watered-down wine for a dozen elite men, reclining on plush imported couches. You have to sit perfectly still while old, aggressively drunk philosophers write devastatingly explicit poetry about the delicate curve of your neck. They loudly debate the absolute purity and intellectual superiority of their love for you, all while staring aggressively at your waistline. You are a biological trophy, a living, breathing flex, designed to prove your mentor's dominance to his political rivals. But beneath the poetry, the spilled wine, and the golden sunlight, a merciless countdown timer is loudly ticking. Your elite status, your physical protection, and your mentor's affection are entirely tied to the flawless, smooth elasticity of your skin. You are basically an ancient Snapchat filter. Every single morning, a terrified, microscopic inspection takes place in front of a polished bronze hand mirror. You grip the heavy metal so tightly your knuckles turn white. You frantically scrape at your jawline with a dull blade, desperately praying you don't find the dark shadow of a 5 o'clock stubble. Because the expiration date on your power is entirely non-negotiable. The exact moment you grow a single, stray chin hair, the progressive utopia violently ejects you. Hitting adulthood in ancient Greece doesn't mean freedom. It means you stop being perceived. The mentor doesn't sit you down and break up with you. He simply cuts your hair off, throws a brief civic ceremony, and acts like your deeply physical relationship never even existed. The most fiercely desired, heavily protected teenager in the city becomes a completely invisible, highly vulnerable adult overnight. Society drains your youth, utilizes your body for political networking, and then tosses you into the ruthless adult world the exact second you get a shadow on your jaw. But the psychological trap isn't finished. The steel jaws of the machine are just resetting, because now that you are an adult citizen, the rules of the game aggressively reverse. The very society that forced you to submit in the dark now demands that you become the apex predator. To maintain your new adult status, to prove your masculinity, and to climb the political ladder, you are strictly expected to stalk the gymnasiums. You are expected to buy the squawking roosters. You are expected to claim a teenager. And if you refuse, if you secretly realize during those dark years of dissociation that you actually prefer to be the submissive partner, the absolute darkest, most terrifying reality of the Greek world reveals itself. A free, adult male citizen acting submissive in the bedroom is the ultimate career-ending crime. It is called being a knidos. There are no anonymous hookups here. The city is a paranoid, deeply hypocritical surveillance state where political rivals constantly spy on each other's domestic habits. You can't even trust the servants pouring your wine. You are constantly forcing your voice to sound deeper in the marketplace, sweating through your tunic because you are terrified the neighbors are listening through the walls. If a rumor starts that you are still taking the passive role as an adult, the bureaucratic guillotine drops immediately. Political enemies will drag you into the public square. They will weaponize your bedroom preferences in front of a jury of 500 screaming men. Being convicted as a knidos doesn't just mean a heavy fine. It means total, irreversible civic death. Your right to vote is viciously stripped away. You are legally forbidden from ever speaking in the assembly again. You are permanently banned from entering the public temples. The exact same physical act that was celebrated, poeticized, and entirely mandated when you were 16 is suddenly classified as a disgusting, treasonous offense at 21. The hypocrisy is so incredibly thick you could choke on it. You are trapped in a terrifying, high-stakes extortion loop. To hide your true identity and protect your life, you must perfectly play the role of the aggressive, dominant warlord. You must perpetuate the exact same cycle of trauma that shattered your own youth. You walk into the dusty, sun-drenched palaestra. The overwhelming smell of olive oil and sweat hits your lungs. Dozens of beautiful, terrified teenagers are wrestling in the dirt, desperately trying to catch the eye of a powerful mentor to secure their family's future. You hold a live, squawking bird in your hands. You lock eyes with a 16-year-old boy who looks exactly like you did 5 years ago. He stops wrestling. He lowers his eyes. He prepares to submit. And the cycle snaps shut. You survive it. You endure it. But you never, ever escape it. 82.